again, everyone. It's Henry here, and I'm off on another solo trip. Going back to the Chiniguchi area that I was at on my previous trip, but this time going in a different direction. The plan today is to go in at the Matagamasi boat launch like we did before, but this time we'll head south and for about 3 kilometers in a narrow bay whose name escapes me just now. And then there's a 1,300 meter portage from there into Kukagami Lake, and then I wind my way through Kukagami Lake, which has got lots of interesting bays to it, so I think I'm looking forward to that. And then I'll get me to the 800 meter portage into Donald Lake, which is tonight's destination for camping. So this trip, the first day's a fair bet. We've got 2.1 kilometer portaging and maybe 15 or so K of paddling, so it's enough when you're double portaging significant weight. But I believe I've been told the portages are in decent shape, so we'll just have to check. On the way in, I'm going to break off and go up the Kukagami Road slightly where the 1,300 meter portage crosses the road, and we'll see if there's any evidence of it there, and if there is, that'll be a reassurance that there shouldn't be too much trouble getting through. Okay, so tomorrow then I'll paddle whatever out of Donald through the Colin Scott and Gold Lakes into Matagamasi's north end, which I think is called McCarthy Bay or something. There's an island site there I'd look to get, hopefully I can get. That would be on Sunday night, so hopefully that also would chase away the weekend warriors. And if so, then I would stay there 2 nights. And the second night, so the third day, I want to do a day trip where I paddle over to the dam at the northeast corner and to go around that, and then there's Karl Falls there, and it looks like there's a number of either rapids or chutes there, so I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what's there. And I might go a little bit further downstream. We'll see how everything looks for an interesting day experience down there. And then day 4 is paddling back out. So look forward to having you along with me, and thanks again for watching my videos. So we'll go to the right and see if we can find this portage. It's 3 or 4 kilometers up the road, and we'll see what happens. You know, who knows? It's pretty sketchy. So it is here. All right, so that's the main thing. So finding this portage from the low end of Matagamasi into Kukagami, I went up the Kukagami Road just to see if I could find it, to see what kind of condition it was in. It took a little bit of doing, but I've been able to find it. And there's a pile of rocks there and a tiny weeny sign. That's on the east side. But as you can see, there is a trail. It doesn't look insane to try and get your stuff through, like there's a trail through here. You won't believe me, I guess, but there is. And then over here, but there's the corresponding trail to the west, which is where I would be coming from in an hour or so, hour and a half. Right here, you can see the sign on the tree. I missed both of these on the way in, and I was able, fortunately, to catch them on the way back. So it looks like this is a go. So we'll see what happens, but it's encouraging anyway, and it's nice and cool. So it's a 1,300 meter portage in total. This road is probably a little short of halfway but probably going to do it in at least two stages anyway. Okay, finally underway here. My gosh, a lot of mucking around this morning, but I'm on my way hopefully to Donald Lake. I just got off you can see the launch behind me here. I guess there's the launch there. That's pretty much it for the Matagamasi boat launch, and we're heading south into this bay, and hopefully in 45 minutes or so we will hit that portage that I found on the road, and if so, then we'll be hauling over to Kukagami. The weather for this trip, I've delayed it 2 days. Yesterday was something else, so you had 70-kilometer winds and rain, all the rest, so it wasn't a canoeing day. But it's cool this morning. I'd say it's about 13 or 14, maybe 15 out here. A little bit of a breeze, but as you can see by the flag over here, it's not any issue certainly in here. And I just have to get the canoeing going here and get the speed so we can get down there. It's 3.4 to that's as the Raven flies, so probably going to be a little bit more than that. So I suspect we're going to be, it's now just 11:30, so probably about 12:15, and then I've estimated 2 hours to do the 1,300 meter portage. I have to carry twice, and it is a trail, so that's good, and we'll just see what we get. So we've had a lot of this water cover here on the lily pads, which slows us down trying to get to the portage. I got 1 kilometer to go, which just means it's down that slot there on the left side, and I'm following those open parts I can find here that look like someone's been through with a canoe or something. So hopefully it's that simple. You can see one of those tracks up here through the back. We're going out a much more water route. So this little bay is where the portage starts. There's the sign. Okay, very good. Now we have to figure it. Let's take a little bit of stuff we can ground on and maybe get out. It's too bad. I'm not going to be able to make too much video here because I got to keep going to get this done if we're going to make Donald. Oops, that's not what I want to do. Hello, and thank you for watching this video. It is a pleasure to share my adventures with all of you. To help achieve my goal of at least 1,000 subscribers, I would appreciate it if you would subscribe to Hiking with Henri and click on the like button for this video. It is completely free and would be of great help to me. Thank you very much. So the takeout here isn't horrible, except that this tree fell and makes the path quite narrow, and there's a lot of very sharp branches here. And that's the direction we came from. But it only took me about 10 minutes to get from the water, and I have the canoe here ready to go and the pack ready to go. So we're going to start off with the pack. The idea now is to go about 10 minutes, probably take us past the road, and then we'll come back for the canoe. So we're off to a reasonable start. It took a little longer on the paddle in, almost 4K with all the meanders and the bit of the headwind. The model calls me to do this whole portage in 2 hours, which would have us at Kukagami ready to go at 2:25, and so we'll see how it turns out. So to the average person, this doesn't look like a trail, but it's actually pretty good. There's an excellent treadway that you can easily find, and there's not many rocks. I was able to do the first 800 meters with the pack in about 15 minutes. This is the other direction, and so given where we are, this is pretty good. So 15 minutes, 10 to get back, another 15 hopefully to get the canoe over, and we've done 800, so we only have half that to go to Kukagami. So far I'm pretty happy with how we're getting along. Portage went really well. I'm so pleased. It was long enough, probably more like 1,500 meters, but the tread surface was just terrific, and somebody's brushed it out, which is really, really nice. There's only a couple of downfalls given all the wind from yesterday. That was pretty remarkable. So that was a win. All right, we'll have something to eat and we'll be on our way here. Lots of junk. Try that. She's really hanging back here. Oh, maybe we can go through there. Let's try that. Okay. Kukagami Lake, here we come. So this is going to be quite pretty in here because there's lots of twists and turns to this whole thing while I put my paddle together here. Then we're going to start. So we get sunset here around at this time of year around 7:45, and so I wanted to be on Donald and hopefully at my campsite by 6, and that might be a little bit of a big ask right now. It's 16K to go altogether, right onto Donald and the estimated campsite. So I figure it's probably 13 to 14 to the Donald Lake Portage here on Kukagami. Without being silly about it, the sooner I can get to the Donald Portage, I just want to be able to set up when it's not dark, but it'll be what it's going to be. So I've decided to make a look at the map. I can go over the top, of course, it's about 5 or so kilometers, or I can take this 320 meter portage. So based on the math that I have, a 320 meter portage is about the same as about 3.5K paddling, plus or minus. And with the cold wind today and the later how it was looking, what time I'd be getting to Donald, and it was starting to rain a bit, which I was hoping it was supposed to, but of course it doesn't matter. I've decided to take the portage. Well, I think I made the right decision on the surface here, because the surf's got pretty good swells here right now. The wind probably as high as I've seen on this lake up here. Again, the lakes aren't that big, but the fetch here is pretty good given that the wind is coming right down the lake. Sure wouldn't want to be paddling into this today. That's a real, you'd be earning your Wheaties doing that. It's probably not going to show very well on the video, but the wind's coming into me at my face at 25 to 30 kilometers an hour. It really got up, and you can see out there the swells and everything are getting to half meter, 60 centimeters. But the shore is all good. So it's a nice portage, easy walking, a few rocks, but not too bad. There was no hill in the middle that I kind of thought there might be based on the contours, so here we are, and hopefully we saved a bit of time. So there's the idyllic setting on the water on this side of the portage compared to the maelstrom on the other side. So I think we're doing pretty well, and hopefully getting over to Donald's portage and getting that done as soon as we can. So I just came out of the 320 meter portage that cut off that horn there on the north part of Kukagami, and now we're heading for the Donald Lake Portage, which is hopefully only about 1.5 kilometers away. Sure is nice to be in here though without all that wind. My gosh, this is a totally different experience. Here, there's a bit of a breeze, but nothing like we had there at the end and that wild sea thing. So we're headed for the narrowest part there, that center piece, and that should be pretty close to. So by the time we got here, the wind's up again, but the surf is nowhere near as bad. So it was okay, and thankfully we didn't have to paddle into it. And we'll get the canoe in a minute. It doesn't bang too much, and it looks like a really nice trail. Lots of rocks. I don't know. It's hard to figure. The weather has been unbelievable today. We had this, I don't know what it was, for an hour and a half or so on Kukagami where the wind just started up. And I bet you it was going 30 at times. And I got here to Donald and there's nothing. It's almost calm. We had a light misting rain that lasted 10 minutes, and now it's just almost a mill pond. Unbelievable. So I went to the first site that was marked on my map, and it's not very inviting. There's a lot of rocks, very hard to take the canoe out. It doesn't look very impressive. So I'm going to go over to the one on the point and see what that looks like. Interestingly enough, so far today, I haven't seen, other than when I first got here, where I parked my car, there was a guy there. I haven't seen any people at all today. Not even, nothing. So they're all smarter than I am to stay home, I guess, in this type of kind of fall weather. But
It's neat to be here. This is a lake that I've heard of from different videos on YouTube, and it sounded pretty nice. And I'm really glad I made the effort. So I paddled up the lake to there was a rock face sticking out of the water that just looked like it'd be a beautiful site to camp at, and I think what it seems to be is on the other side it slopes down to the water and looks like a really nice takeout here, and this is campsite written all over it, that's for sure. And I don't see anybody here, so I think I might have scored. But let's just take her easy and see what we got. But this looks like an amazing campsite here, and there's even some kitchen stuff here. So I'm just going to go check it out and then I'll give you a tour. So this is the south direction of Donald Lake here. And over to my left, it's a bit hidden, I'll go a little further over here, is the little lagoon here where you can bring your boat in. Now it's smooth rock, but it's right level with the ground, so the takeout is really easy. You can just see the canoe there with the red in behind the bushes. And then here there's some deep water for getting water without having to deal with the surface. And then for me, I wanted to sleep up here where there's a bit of a view. It might get a bit colder up here, but we'll see. Could well end up waking up in a fog with the mists on the lake. And here's my home for the night. And then I have my two items, my pack, which is empty, and my gear bag, which has nothing in it food related, hanging here for tonight. And you probably can't see it, but about there somewhere there's a blue marker on the tree, and just in behind there is where the backcountry toilet is, which is great. Oh, you can see the canoe here, and I put the paddles behind the tree just to make sure. And so then all that's left is now my little workstation here, which is the chair and the table and my two food barrels. So what's tonight? So tonight's dinner, after everything, a sandwich, some pudding cups, 2 protein drinks, some chocolate, and some Gatorade. That should do it, and hopefully the whole secret is to try and sleep as well as I can so it's still fun, and then tomorrow we'll start all over again. Thanks for coming along today. It's been pretty nice, and it's pretty nice to be here on Donald Lake. I was sitting there having my just starting my meal, and after I set everything up, and it started to rain, and it hasn't quit. It's been going on now for pretty close to half an hour. So I was getting, it starts to soak you. It's not a heavy rain, it's just but it's the kind of thing that can soak your clothes. So I set the tarp up, and I'm really pleased with this. So I'm going to show you here. I got this square tarp, and I've just lashed it to random trees wherever it is. We're using those aluminum clips. And I only did the corners, and it's more than good enough for what I'm doing here. And I rigged it, I'm fairly tall, I didn't want to be crawling underneath it. So so this time the tent's on its own, and we'll see what happens. But it's really nice to sit under here and not get wet, I must tell you. So it took some doing, but the tarp's getting broken in. It was set up on Wakamika Island I got 2 trips ago, I guess. But this is the first time where it's actually done some real service. So pretty nice. I began my trip at the Matagamasi government put-in marked item 1 on the map. From here, I headed about 4 kilometers south on McLaren Creek to the beginning of the 1,340-meter portage marked item 2. Incidentally, the road where I verified that this portage actually exists crosses the path pretty much under the number 2 label on the map. After completing this portage, I headed north on Kukagami Lake but encountered stiff 25 to 30 km/h winds that were following that created at least a 50 centimeter swell. So given the conditions and the remaining amount of daylight at item 3, I opted for the 320-meter portage marked at item 4 to get some shelter and to shorten the trip to Donald Lake. The next phase was the 880-meter portage to Donald Lake marked item 5, and then to my beautiful campsite on a rock shelf on Donald Lake marked item 6. The weather was highly variable but largely overcast and blustery most of the day. I felt alone and connected with the wilderness. The totals for today were 16.8 kilometers of paddling, 666 meters of double portages for a total of 8 kilometers of walking, and then a grand total of 24.8 kilometers of human travel done in a consistent but not rushed 6 hours and 30 minutes. Thank you very much for coming along.